Dismiss Senator Natasha, please. You are not recognized to speak from there. That is the order of the Senate.
Sir, order 10 on privileges. Order 10 on privileges. Senator may rise at any time to speak upon a matter of privilege suddenly arising, and he shall be prepared to move without notice. A motion declaring that the content of breach of privilege has been
suspension immediately.
Is to suspend me from sitting, and I promise you, the fact that I am suspended does not mean that I will cease to contribute my quota to the development of my people, the women of Nigeria. Nice President, you have silenced my voice and the voice of Focus Central on this floor. Mr. Senate President, ever since the night of incident, you have deliberately silenced my voice and the voice of Focus Central on this floor. You have denied me the right to contribute to motions. I have not been able to take the second reading of my numerous debates. So, Mr. Senate President, I am not afraid of further being silent, but I will not be shoved to the corner. I will choose, as the senator duly elected by my people, I choose to remain on this seat. Come what may. What you will do, Mr. Senate President, is to suspend me from sitting. And I promise you, the fact that I am suspended does not mean that I will cease to contribute my quota to the development of my people, the women of Nigeria, and Nigerians at large. Mr. Senate President, I have taken a whole lot from you. Now I don't want to speak publicly, but because I will tell Nigerians know how you have discriminated against me, how you have maligned me, how you have dehumanized me. Your choice of voices have resumed at this in the Senate have nothing but contributed to the womankind, and I have committed the whole lot. So, Mr. Senate President, I am not afraid of you. Do what you may, but I will not be deceived.
So that was Senator Natasha lashing out at Senate President Senator Akpabio over a sitting arrangement dispute earlier today. Now, according to media reports, trouble started when the Senate President reassigned her to a different seat, which she aggressively rejected. But was Senator Natasha justified in her actions? From what their own rulebook says, it doesn't appear so.
Order 6 states, the President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. 6.2, a senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him, provided the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time.
Please read that again.
Okay.
Is that the President of the Senate?
The President of the Senate shall allocate a seat to each senator. Yes. And it went further to state that a senator may only speak from the seat allocated to him, provided that the President of the Senate may change the allocation from time to time. So it is at the discretion of the President of the Senate, as circumstances warrant, to change seats as time goes on, based on circumstances that may pop up in the course of the proceedings of the Senate. And in the course of the proceedings of the Senate, 2 senators from the PDP, that is Senator Ned Nwoko.
Which faction of PDP? Which faction?
And
Senator Dixon's faction. Akpabio.
And also Senator Francis Ezenwa of the Labour Party also decamped to APC, thereby necessitating their movement from the other side to this side, thereby creating vast spaces in the opposition side. And then pursuant to that, and in the exercise of the powers conferred on the Senate President, pursuant to Order 6, Rule 2 and 2A, the President of the Senate decided to rearrange this seat, giving directives to the Chief Whip to exercise that function. And pursuant to that directive, seats were reallocated. And I was surprised to report that Senator Natasha, having given another seat, refused to vacate her former seat in flagrant violation of our rules.
Now, if all of that is true, then Senator Natasha might need to be very careful in the way and manner she carries herself, so that it doesn't come across as though she's allowing her dislike for the Senate President to becloud her better judgment. And I will not be surprised if she hasn't read or fully understand the full extent of the powers of the Senate President, especially as it relates to seat reassignments. Senator Natasha needs to remember that she's not representing herself in the National Assembly, and should she continue her oftentimes dispensable fights with the Senate President, it is her constituents that will continue to bear the brunt. I'm convinced the kinds of fights our constituents want her to see her engage in are, of course, fights that are in line with the interests of the people of Kogi State. Now, before I share with you the history of the Senate President's fight with prominent women in the Senate, can I just ask if you also notice, like me, that these guys oftentimes don't fight over Nigeria and the welfare of its people. It just has to always be about their own personal interests. Anyways, I digress. Now, two of the most prominent female senators in the Nigerian Senate are Senators Natasha and Kingibe. And for some inexplicable reason, Senator Akpabio has been in multiple fights with these two women. I mean, in a chamber where there are very few women, this cannot be something Senator Akpabio and the leadership of the Senate should be proud of, as it obviously sends a very wrong signal about them. Only a few months ago, Senator Akpabio was forced to apologize to her when he had likened her conduct to that of a nightclub goer.
But in the course of my talking to one of my distinguished sisters that she should speak whenever she's recognized, I made reference to the fact that we are not in a nightclub where people have to shout above the noise of the music. And the social media went agog. But the communication was totally misunderstood. Instead of taking it for the nature of what we said, that you should not shout when you are talking and not and speak when you are recognized, they went into private abuses. I don't want to say what they did to me. I will not intentionally denigrate any woman. I have a wife, I have 4 daughters, and I always pray that God will lift a girl child to the highest zenith in Nigeria, politically and in business. I also want my children to do well. So, distinguished Senator Natasha, I want to apologize to you if you felt offended. If I had mentioned that we are not in the market, they will say I said you are a market woman. If I said that you were not in a nightclub where people shout above the noise of the music, they will say you went to nightclub. If I said you were not in a community meeting in the village, they will say Akpabio says Natasha is a village woman. For me, there is nothing I will say that will not be misunderstood. I don't know how you took it, but I felt that I should tender a public apology to you over the miscommunication and the misunderstanding. So do accept my apologies. So I hope the apology is accepted. Leader of the Senate.
Of course, we can only speculate whether or not that apology was accepted. But Senator Kingibe has also had her own running battle with the Senate President.
What seemed to be a smooth proceeding took a different turn when the senator representing Federal Capital Territory, Senator Kingibe, staged a walkout after being prevented from presenting a motion.
We are talking. Please rise as you are addressing your.
This prompted some lawmakers to make a case for her to be heard.
The civil senator Kingibe.
She was later recalled into the chamber to apologize for walking out and then present a motion.
Start with slight apology to your colleagues for walking out on them.
No, sir.
Then we have a problem there. If you are not humble enough,
I apologize to my colleagues for working out.
If you are not humble enough to apologize to your colleagues,
I apologize to my colleagues for working out.
Then you
now,
will move
added to that, my colleagues, I expect fairness in the Senate for everybody.
Now, whether the haters of the Senate President like to admit this or not, the Senate President has clearly shown, at least in these last two clips that I've played, that he can respect women. And I think this has to be acknowledged. However, he himself now needs to be very careful so that it doesn't come across as though he has a women problem. Or should I say, a strong women problem. Maybe the Senate President now needs to take a 2-week course on how to deal with very strong women, especially those of them in leadership positions.